Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we will create our first program for Cobol, which we will use in order to print some text on output screen. In previous session, we discussed the basic things like how to create or add the source for Cobol, what are the positioning in the Cobol program, right? We also discussed the basic structure and theoretical session in our previous sessions. Now, if you have not covered those sessions, then I request you to go and please check out those sessions first because each and every section is in a proper sequence. So if you have not covered the previous session, then I think it would be a bit difficult for you to understand the further topics, right? That's why I request you to go and check out the previous session first. But if you are following that series, then I think we are good to start with the program. So in this session, mainly we are going to create one program where we will see how we can print the text on output console. If we talk about RPGL programming, those who know about the RPGL language, then we have one option DSPLY right there in order to print the text, right? Similarly, similarly in Cobol, we have display command. Okay, so as we have already discussed that Cobol is a English like syntax like language, right? It is always showcase the complete word there, right? So now we will see how we can create the program that will use display command in order to print some text on the output console. So for that I have already added this member with the same steps that we discussed in last session. Here the program member name is pgm1, type is cble, text is printing. This is just for the description like printing text from Cobol. Now I'm taking option 2 here in order to show you the program. So this is the program. Okay. In previous session we have already discussed like why we kept this line blank, right? And what is the best position for writing the identification, procedure, division. So all these things are very important. Okay, now we will start from the first line. So in first line we mention this division as identification division. Now what is identification division? It is the division which provide us the information related like it provides the identification related details of the program. For example, program ID. So you can see here I'm writing program ID which is pgm1. So this is nothing but a program name. So always keep it as same as your program. Okay, because that's the reason we are using this block. So it will indicate your program name. Then we have author. You can observe carefully like after terminating anything we are using dot, right? Although it is not mandatory, but still just follow the same step which we are doing here. Okay, because otherwise you might get confused like whether we should use this or not. So just keep a note of it, everything that we are discussing. Like here we are writing program id dot, then pgm1 dot, which is representing the program name. Then author is represented as Sharmit. So this is the author name. Then date written is mentioned as 2024 0329. So this entire block is representing the identification division, and make sure to keep it in the same position, otherwise it will give error for sure. Okay, I'll show you also like how these lines are pre-filled when we are generating the spool for it. Okay, okay, fine. So identification division is clear. Now we will talk about the procedure division. Here you can see we are using the command display. Now there might be one question like why we kept this line blank. This is up to you. Just to provide the better readability, I'm writing with two spaces just to give a indentation. Okay, nothing much. Even if you write it from here, that will also work. Okay, but don't go beyond that. Okay, otherwise it will give error. So in procedure division, I again kept two spaces here just to give the proper indent, and then I'm using the command display. This display command is used to print the text. So here you can see I'm printing the normal text which is hello world. So usually whenever we are learning any programming language, we always print this text, although it is not mandatory, but yeah, it is nowadays pattern that for every language we firstly see how we can print the hello world. Okay, so you can see we are printing the text hello world. After that, we are writing stop run. Now what is this stop run? This stop run is indicating the program that yes, this is the last line of my program, so stop the execution, stop the program execution. Okay, so now this is the entire block. This entire block is defined as procedure division. Now there might be one question from you guys, like in the introduction session we discussed there are 4 divisions in Cobol, but at the moment we are just using 2 division. Why? Yes, you are right, there are 4 division, but for this basic program there is no need to include other division. But when we will move further development, then we will use data division also, and all the division we will utilize. But here in this session we are just creating it for the printing the text. That's why I am using only 2 division, which is identification division and procedure division. Clear? So here we have just created one program which is showing the identification detail as program with program ID, author name, date written, and in procedure division we are just displaying one text which is display hello world. Displays the command and hello world is a normal text, and then we are ending the program with stop run. So you can see from the commands itself you can easily understand what is happening here. Stop run means we are running, we're stopping the run. Okay, fine. So once your program is ready, then we are good to compile it. You can simply follow the same step. 14 y. I'm taking y because I have already compiled this program. So just to replace the object, I'm taking y here and hitting enter. So it is compiled. Now if I call it, it will show me the hello world message. Fine. Now just to explore the things, what will happen if I make it as capital double quote? Will it work? Let me make double quote it. Fine. So if I compile it again, yes, it will work because it allows us to write double quote. Okay. Now, in some interviews, interviewer might ask you the question: will it be possible to print a single quote inside a text? Yes, you can. But for that, you need to keep this double quote outside. Okay. So here I'm writing double quote hello world with single quote. So it's time to compile it and call it. So you can see it is printed. Likewise, let's say if I want to print double quote, okay, let's try this also. What will happen if I write like this: single quote hello, single quote world, hyphen, exclamation mark, and single quote again. Let's see, will it work or not? Yes, it is failing. Why? Because if I show you the spool file by taking SP option, you can see it is giving us error. Okay, and if I scroll it up, okay, one more thing I want to show you here, that you can see the initial 6 line is occupied with sequence number, right? Because as we discussed that these are the reserved space for sequence number. We have not added these sequence, but still it is taking the sequence number. That's why we always write your data after 7th position from 8th position, right? Now what will happen if I change replace this identification, write this identification division from here? I'll show you that. Okay, but for timing we just discussed, like if you try to print single quote inside a single quote, it will give error. So in order to put single quote, make sure to use outer quote as double quote. And likewise, if you want to print double quote, you can simply use double quote here and single quote here. Yeah, we're good with it. All right, so let's compile it again and see the output. Yes, it is working. Okay, fine. Now I'll make it simple again. All right, now there might be one confusion for you guys, like when you remove these things, still it would work. Yes, it will work. So don't get confused in this thing, like we have not, let me remove it first. Even if you remove these lines, still it will print your text. So that's not an issue. And don't get confused, just follow the steps which I'm explaining you here, because that would help you to understand the language in a more better way. And like we are following the proper standards, so it would also help you in your projects. Now I will tell you like what will happen if I, because positioning is very important, we discussed that, right? If I try to write this from here, I know that yes, initial six characters is reserved for the sequence number, but still I'm trying to print write it here. Let's see what will happen. So you can see the moment when I compile this, it is failing. On checking the spool file, it will show you that this character has been replaced with the sequence number, because initial sequence, you can see these six spaces for sequence number, that's why we are getting error. And you can see it is showing from n, identification removed, and it is started from n. That's the reason we are getting failed, program is getting failed. Okay, so make sure to keep it at the right position, otherwise it will give you error. Fine. So yeah, that's the simple program through which we can easily print the text. And if you would like to print more, you can print with the display command. So I think now we are good with this. Okay, so yeah, that's all for this session. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.